15 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go. At the start of this stream, what are we going to talk about? Obviously, Arman Tsarukyan getting into a fight at the RAF, right? Now, obviously, as this fight or this matchup was going on, I was busy covering another fight. Obviously, the UFC Fight Night Mexico City was going on with Brandon Moreno versus Loner Kavanaugh, which, by the way, was a great and underrated matchup considering the fact that a lot of people did not have Loner Kavanaugh winning that fight for several reasons. Obviously, the hometown advantage of Brandon Moreno had something to do with that. On top of it, the fact that Brandon Moreno is a former champion. But nonetheless, I hear that Arman Tsarukyan crashed out on this event. And of course, whenever somebody crashes out, the first thing that somebody says is, you know what, this guy, he's got a temper problem, right? Sort of like this reverse narcissistic abuse that a lot of people sort of play into, right? They provoke someone and then they play victim, which I think is what happened here, right? Now, at first, in face value, I never really took much from it because at first I was like, you know what? Maybe Arman was wrong on this one until I saw the video, which I played in the intro, and I'm going to play it again right now, and I'm going to have you decide whether Arman Tsarukyan was justified in what he did. And quite frankly, I think that he was, and I'm going to show you why right now. So take a look at this. I want you to observe the man with the rainbow-colored singlet right there. And that's Arman Tsarukyan, obviously, as you recognize him with the dark blue and the striped red, you know, on top of his singlet, right? So was Arman Tsarukyan justified in crashing out on him? By the way, I can't show you the video of Arman Tsarukyan actually punching him. Because I tell you what, this right here, look at this. That's a slap right there. That's a push right in his face, which, by the way, for those of you that have wrestled, okay, there are some things that are sort of in brand with wrestling. For example, if you're placing your hand like this while you're wrestling someone, sort of like creating a distance or a range, or maybe feeling their head out, or maybe trying to grab their head as a snap down, right? Very similar to what Arman Tsarukyan did to MMA Guru when they were wrestling together, right? He did a snap down, he grabbed his head, snapped him down, and that's sort of what I believe Giorgio here was looking to do. But for whatever reason, what's up with this, right? This right here. This is a little too much right here. Look at this. Right here. Not that, okay. Almost, you know, a bit of a Tom Aspinall gone situation right there. Look at that. Stockton slap. Boom. Okay, right there to the head. I mean, that's a little too much. There's Arman Tsarukyan complaining right there. And it is no wonder why they got into it. Now, what happened afterwards? Let's see Sean O'Malley. Let's see if Sean O'Malley has, because he was there, right? So I believe Sean O'Malley has a footage of this. Now, let me see if I can go on one of his social media pages. I'm sure he has it posted right up here regarding this. Okay, so here it is, right here. Okay, so this is what happened as a result right here. So, when the match was over, by the way, let me preface this for a second, right? So, obviously, Arman Tsarukyan won this match, okay? But after the match, he was on top of him, and while he was on top of him, he just decided he was going to rain a couple of punches right on top of Giorgio. Now, for those of you that don't know who Giorgio is, obviously, this guy is a social media superstar, meaning that he does all these videos where he goes and, let's say, challenges people to do, you know, a wrestling match, right? Or better yet, a takedown challenge. Can you take me down? And if you do, you get $1,000. And this is the reason why, look, if for those of you that have just tapped into the vertical stream and did not see my thumbnail, this is what I got for my thumbnail right here. Okay? Street fight, $1,000 to connect the punch. And let me tell you something, right? Out of all people, I think Arman Tsarukyan not only deserves $1,000 for taking him down, which he did, but he also deserves $1,000 for connecting a punch, right? So $1,000 connect punch challenge. James Rodriguez says, hi. Hello, James. Troy McDivitt says, I don't. I watch the fake stuff, LOL. Well, let me tell you something. I understand your sentiments, Troy, right? Speaking of fake stuff, check that out right there. Check out that belt, right? So, anyways, I understand why you would like the fake stuff, right? Obviously, I grew up wrestling like most MMA fighters that grew up in America, right? But I also love the fake stuff. I also loved all the theatrics of the WWE. I loved all of that because guess what? What they offer you is pure entertainment. Now with this was pure entertainment. This was candid, out of nowhere entertainment, and I did not expect for this to happen because obviously if you expected something like this to happen, I would have tuned in on this rather than tuning in at the UFC Mexico card, right? Not that I regret covering that or watching that, but yeah. I should have, though. I should have, considering it, you know what, I had time to do so because I wasn't live streaming or fight companioning the UFC Mexico card, so I could have had two screens up while watching that, and I don't know, I just didn't feel compelled to do so. I know Uriah was there wrestling Henry Cejudo. Probably didn't turn out very well. I don't know the results, other than the fact that Arman Tsarukyan beat this guy, which, by the way, this is now his second top-tier wrestler that he has beaten, which kind of tells you, man, Arman Tsarukyan is a real legitimate wrestler. Now, here's what's crazy about all of this, right? Arman Tsarukyan is not exactly a wrestler, at least not in a way that he is an MMA fighter. He's more of an MMA fighter than he is a wrestler, okay? And quite frankly, he's beating a lot of these guys that are in wrestling. Take a look at his record now. He has beaten Lance Palmer. He has, who else has he beaten in the RAF? He's now developing, you know, a real elite level in wrestling without having the real credentials as, let's say, going through the high school American system or going through the college system or going through the Olympic system, depending on what country he represents, whether that would be Armenia, whether that would be Russia or America. None of those things, right? He is a pure mixed martial arts fighter who comes into the world of wrestling. Now, look, this Giorgio guy, I got to be honest with you, I'm quite disappointed in his, not only his performance, obviously, because he got beat by an MMA fighter, right? This is equivalent to, let's say, if Conor McGregor was to go in there in a boxing ring and, you know, and beat up the likes of, let's say, Errol Spence or, you know, in his case, maybe even Floyd Mayweather. right? Which obviously he did not, because it showed that, you know, high level boxing is high level boxing for boxing, and high level boxing for MMA is completely that antiquatedly contrast to pure elite boxing. Well, this is pure elite wrestling, and he definitely has that. And what did he say here? He says Giorgio acted like, yeah, I agree with you, James Rodriguez, right? A very disappointing attitude on the part of Giorgio. Now, on top of that, he makes up this whole thing like, oh, you know what, after the fact, look, it was my dad who was a 60-year-old guy who was in here jumping in. I mean, basically just absolutely alleviating himself from the responsibility of what he did. Now, look, I'm going to be honest with you, right? Arman Tsarukyan didn't have to do this. At the same time, Arman Tsarukyan is on a campaign to not only build his name up, right, doing all of these streams, doing all of these grappling competitions, but he's also building his name up in the name of, let's say, trying to build a resume in a different sport. A sport, by the way, that he doesn't normally compete in. And the fact that he doesn't normally compete in a sport and the way that he's been performing against these guys, it kind of tells you a couple of things. Arman is not only an elite wrestler, obviously an elite MMA fighter, but has a way bigger name than Giorgio. Obviously, Giorgio is internet famous, right? Arman Tsarukyan is world famous due to the due to the UFC's media and the powerhouse that they sort of hold in the media game, and the attention and the clout and the algorithm that comes with the UFC, on top of the fact that he's been building his name up on his own without the UFC, doing streams with Neon, doing streams with Aiden Ross, doing streams with MMA Guru, well, not so much doing streams with MMA Guru, but being featured in the same room as MMA Guru, building his name to a worldwide audience, right? And yet, here's Giorgio, who is internet famous, right? Absolutely disrespecting the opportunity that is given to him. Now, look, here's the thing, right? Me and Giorgio are, I mean, you could classify as internet famous, right? I'm nowhere near as famous as, let's say, Logan Paul or even MMA Guru, right? If any of these guys were to invite me in a setting where, hey, you know what, let's do content together, or let's, you know, maybe even compete in a grappling match or something like that, I would treat it with the utmost respect, because here's a guy who doesn't have to give me any opportunity whatsoever. Obviously, it's still good for Arman, right? Because he gets to prove that he is an elite level wrestler without actually competing in actual wrestling prior to RAF. However, it is still an opportunity for Giorgio. Now people know who Giorgio is. They've known him as the internet guy that, you know, basically says, hey, listen, $1,000 if you take me down. That was his whole shtick, right? Just like my whole shtick. You try and come into this chat and you try to diss me, guess what I'm going to say to you? You don't even have $5,000 in your bank account. Your check engine lights is on. You got debt high up to the ceiling. You got health, underlying health issues that you can't provide for yourself because you don't have health coverage. You know the whole spill. And in the ADD gang, on top of that, the race whisperer, that it goes on and on and on. This is the internet culture, right? People create sort of a persona for you. Well, his persona is that I am the $1,000 guy that will give you $1,000 if you take me down. Well, not only did Arman Tsarukyan take you down, he also passed my challenge of the one punch connect challenge, which is exactly what he did to you. Now, look, what are the consequences that are going to come out of this? My speculation is probably close to zero. What are they going to do? Ban Arman Tsarukyan from competing in the RAF? I highly doubt it. I highly doubt it. Now, if he was to do this in high school wrestling, you better believe there would be some serious consequences to it, but we're not in high school wrestling. We're also not in college wrestling, okay? Because let me tell you the type of world college wrestling is all about. You ask Ben Askren what it was like to have one of his training partners punished for making a rap album. Making a rap album. This is the type of world scholastic wrestling is all about. They penalize him for making a rap album. You want to know why? Because he was making money off of that rap album, I'm talking about Ben Askren's teammate in college, and he was under a university banner, and they did not like that at all. They did not like that an amateur athlete was not supposed to be making money off of his brand. Well, obviously, being a rapper, it means that people know you as a wrestler, people know you as Ben Askren's teammate, and so they penalize him. And Ben Askren has mentioned this in a Joe Rogan podcast, which, by the way, I mean, really shows you the type of, predatory culture that college sports has, period, not just in wrestling. So this is the kind of world that they come from. There's a lot of consequences. But here's the thing. RAF is trying to make wrestling a lot more palatable to mainstream fans. And guess what? Controversy sells. You want to know what I learned in college when I was learning journalism and public relations, especially on the public relations side of things, right? No publicity is bad publicity. This is great publicity for RAF. No doubt about it. This is great publicity for RAF. Are they going to punish Arman Tsarukyan? Probably not. You want to know why? Because they're not pressing charges. Very similar to when Conor McGregor threw a dolly at a bus full of fighters that Khabib was supposed to be in. What sort of punishment did he get? Nothing. Because it provided entertainment and content for the UFC to use as a way to promote their upcoming fight together, and that's exactly what they did. So RAF and wrestling is now sort of delving into that world of entertainment combat sports. Whereas before, I'll tell you what, right? Have I seen brawls in the wrestling room? Yes, and I'm sure if you've ever wrestled in your whole entire life, all throughout across America, for my fellow Americans that have wrestled, or even my fellow Russians, or anybody in the world that has grew up around a wrestling system or been around a wrestling room, I'm sure there were brawls that happened in the locker room or in the mat in and of itself, just due to the frustration between the teammates. This is absolutely normal. I've even seen, I'll tell you what, when I was wrestling in, I believe it was, I think this was a high school match. I had a partner, a training partner, a teammate by the name of Mark Cox, right? By the way, before Marty Miller called me the race whisperer, this guy, Mark Cox, used to call me racially confused, okay? He was a black nationalist NOI member, so he was with the Nation of Islam, right? So that was his view of me. Go figure. He calls me somebody who's racially confused, not somebody who has a great understanding of different races and different people, around the world, right? Whereas with someone like Marty, he calls me the race whisperer. This guy calls me racially confused. Well, let me tell you about the confusion that Mark Cox went into, right? He was wrestling with an opponent and got disqualified because they said that he was grabbing the fingers of his opponent while he was putting them in a referee's position, right? So he got disqualified. The coach was livid, right? And rightfully so, the team was livid. Guess what Mark Cox did? He picked up the chair, or I'm sorry, the bench, and then threw it across the room. Threw it across the room, right in front of the referee, right in front of our coaches, right in front of the whole entire, situation that was going on there, right? And lo and behold, nothing really happened to him because, that is the name of the game, right? Nobody got arrested, nobody got hurt, and ultimately, a professional sport like RAF, because yes, this is an amateur wrestling situation, but the entire apparatus of it is nothing but a professional sports. It's under Fox Sports News, Fox Sports, network. On top of that, there's actual UFC fighters that are competing in it, so it gives it a little bit of a highlight, gives it a little bit of notoriety, gives it a little bit more of, let's say, shine, the rightful shine that you need for, this kind of sport. So in other words, if there's no arrest, nobody's going to press charges. I highly doubt Giorgio is going to press charges. Otherwise, he's just, a BAN. And you know what a BAN is, a big ass N-word, right? If he's that, then he's obviously going to press charges. I highly doubt it, right? He knew what he did. He was also violating Arman, right, in a way that he didn't need to, especially when this man was willing to come in here, compete with him, and give him the clout that he needed, and then he decided to do this instead. So that's what's going on with the RAF situation right now. There's really not a lot of developments going on with that right now. Arman Sarukian has yet to be arrested. The owner of RAF has not mentioned it. He's going to ban Arman, and if he does, then, you know, it was a great run for Arman. By the end of the day, he goes back to his day job as a UFC fighter and now as a full-time streamer from what it seems in Arman Sarukian's current trajectory. Nonetheless, right, that is what's going on right now. We're going to look for more updates on this situation as it develops. But another story that we're going to talk about, obviously, there's the Iran-Israel situation going on right now. And as a result of that, well, a lot of people in Dubai airport are stuck. So guess what? While all of this is happening, guess what happened to Khamzat Chimaev? Khamzat Chimaev ends up going at it with a U.S. Armed Forces member, or at least a former U.S. Armed Forces member. Okay? Now, what happened in that situation? Okay, I'll tell you what happened in that situation, all right? Khamzat and a group of his crew jumped this guy for whatever reason, right? I have the article right here where we can talk about it. So let's see here. First, before I read this article, I want to preface what I think about this, right? I'm going to tell you exactly what I think about this because this is sort of important to hear. Let me see if I can find this article right here. I posted this on my social media. So let's see here. Okay, so news coming out about a serious accusation. Khamzat is being accused of assaulting a man at the Dubai International Airport. The man who says he is a U.S. Air Force veteran claims Khamzat kicked him in the chest after he asked for a photo. Now, no official statement yet. Let's wait before any judges, before anyone judges this situation. So let me see if I can pull up this article right here. I'm trying to see where I put this article. Maybe they erased it because perhaps maybe it was a little too uncomfortable for some, or maybe a little too controversial. But okay, let me see here. Okay, so here it is. Obviously, I had it during the day of the fight. Okay, so first off, let me explain you my opinion on this, right? I'm going to be honest with you. This is a hot take. The guy probably deserved it. Okay, cool. I understand you're a fan, but you also got to understand it's Ramadan, and Brother Khamzat was fasting with low sugar blood levels, aggravated probably by his traveling schedule. Now, a lot of you don't know how to behave around famous people. I'm just going to be honest about that, right? Now, thank God I live this California YouTube life, right? I've been around famous athletes. I've been around famous fighters. I've been around famous rappers. Some of my homeboys are some of your favorite rappers from California, believe it or not, right? I know how to act around famous people. Now, this guy, he probably doesn't like him, right? I'm talking about Khamzat. He probably didn't like this guy because he was a military vet. Let's just be honest, right? Probably because he went out and helped kill Muslims in his time during the Air Force, or at least contributed to some sort, right? Not my opinion, right? This is just the overall opinion of people that come from the Muslim world. So understand where I'm coming from when I'm saying this, right? Let me repeat that again. He probably did not like this vet because he probably helped kill Muslims, and that's probably Khamzat's overall sentiment. He's not going to tell you that, but I'm going to tell you that because I understand and know the mind of Muslims around the world and how they view people like this, right? And here's another thing. This is what's wrong with a lot of you military dudes, okay? A lot of you attach yourself to your military vet identity, even though you're no longer in the military, okay? If you would have just blended in like a normal civilian, he would have probably just took a picture with you, signed an autograph for your son. Instead, what do? You try to look like Captain America in a Muslim territory, and guess what happened? He gave it to you. So now, it's no wonder he banged on you like a blood throwing gang signs at a crip, you bozo. Okay, Khamzat, number one, has UAE citizenship, and this so-called U.S. Army, Air Force vet is nothing more than an American peasant visiting the UAE. First of all, here's the thing: you can't have Khamzat arrested. You will lose, just like his opponents in the cage. Okay, because Khamzat has immunity in the UAE. He has special citizenship for people that have special talent that live there, and obviously he is, I think, considered a political refugee in the UAE, or a combination of both, or just one of those things. Either way, that's the reality of Khamzat Chimaev. So this is what this guy says. His name is R.J. Patterson. Okay, this is his name, R.J. Patterson. I'm going to read to you what he wrote regarding Khamzat Chimaev right here. Okay. So I know you guys are not able to see that in full screen, but okay, I'll just read it to you right now. Okay, and I quote. Okay, R.J. Patterson says, "I'm a husband, a father, and a brother to many." Right? Definitely not a brother to Khamzat. Okay, and I quote. He says, "That said, when we travel, nobody expects to be assaulted. Well, expect different." Okay, and I quote. "Not only that, but as a fan attempting to humbly approach a person to say hello to someone they follow, I highly doubt you approach yourself in a very humble manner, right? Khamzat would not get at you for no reason, just like this." He said at around 0100 and 0200, which, by the way, for those of you that don't understand military time, right? Again, attaching himself to his military identity, talking in military time like he's still in the military. I got more to say about that, but let me continue on with this this message that he wrote. So Khamzat assaulted me earlier this month in the Dubai airport while I was traveling alone back to the U.S. He says, and I quote, I was literally surrounded by him and 7 to 8 others when he decided to charge through and kick me in the chest. He says that it's all on CCTV. We'll see about that. We'll see if the Abu Dhabi or the Emirati government will even help you with that, okay? Good luck, okay? Considering the fact that they got bombs going off in their country right now, right? The Trump hotel is getting bombed at. All of their other resorts are getting bombed at by Iran. Good luck trying to get the attention of the Emirati authorities when they got a war going on in their hands, okay? And you as a U.S. vet should understand that, and I think you do, maybe you don't, but here is the quintessential reminder of that. And then he also said, no matter how early in the morning, no matter how hungover or intoxicated a professional fighter is, by the way, that's the wrong idea right there, right? No way Khamzat Chimaev was intoxicated in any kind of way. Are you intoxicated, Mr. Khamzat Chimaev? Why are you intoxicated? Doing my little George St. Pierre voice right there in the way that he sort of, emulated or diss Michael Bisping when he came into the press conference drunk. But anyways, yeah, so, and I quote, no matter how early it is in the morning, no matter how hungover or intoxicated a professional fighter is, nobody deserves this. He says, I'm a 46-year-old. You, again, why do we need to know your age? But anyways, I think that's for, more effect, right? Oh, look, I'm 46 years old. I'm an old man or this and that, whatever, right? So USAF vet, the stories and rumors about this guy's wild antics are true. This guy tried to take me out. Yeah, because you probably deserved it. And then look at this. He goes and hashtags the UFC. He says justice. He says stand by. And then hashtag Justice League. And then hashtag TMZ and TMZ Sports. All right, whatever, man. But like I said, right, I need you guys to check this out, okay? Check this out. What jurisdiction did this happen? This happened in the UAE. And now ask yourself, with all of that going on in their country, do you think they care about a U.S. Air Force serviceman who was not even an active member right now? You need to understand this guy's not even an active member right now. They're like, man, our hotels, our cities are getting bombed by Iran. Do you really think the UAE authorities will press charges on a bunch of Chechnyans jumping an American who has no diplomatic privileges, okay, or even a current active member of the armed forces? Let me repeat that again, right? Do you honestly think with all of their hotels and their cities in the UAE getting bombed by Iran, do you really think that the UAE authorities will press charges on a bunch of Chechens that decided to jump an American who, by the way, has no diplomatic privileges, not even an active member of the armed forces? And this is indicative of the fact that he says that he's a vet, which means that he is no longer in the armed forces. Okay, bro, trust me when I tell you. The minute you leave the U.S. military, your privileges and the power that comes with that uniform is gone. It is gone. They're like, man, you give a privilege. They give you privileges in the Marines, in the Navy, in the Air Force, in Special Forces, in the CIA. They give you these privileges so that you can stay. Okay? Not so that you can travel freely to Dubai to get beat up by a bunch of Chechens. That is not the type of privilege that they give it to you for. They give you these privileges to stay. Now, if he was still an armed forces member, if he was a diplomat, if he was anybody of any importance to America in any kind of way, they would probably press the issue. Okay? Very similar to, well, actually, this isn't similar, but it sort of goes into the story. There was this father who accidentally shot her daughter, who's, by the way, half British, in Texas, right? Guess what the argument was about? The argument was about Trump. The father was a staunch Trump supporter. You know, the rest of Texas, they are all staunch Trump supporter. His half English daughter, obviously because she probably has liberal ideas that she learned from London, decided that, hey, you know what? I'm going to rebel against my father in his pursuit or his love for Donald Trump. They get into an argument. He shot his daughter, and the Texas authorities do nothing about it. Instead, it was up to the British government, not even Scotland Yard, not even MI6 or MI5 or any of these agencies that are, let's say, domestic or international federal forces in Great Britain, right? It was a local police force that pushed the issue towards this Texas jurisdiction to do something. Okay? Now, with this situation, I highly doubt they're going to do this. People are stuck in Dubai. People are there for a long period of time because of, the lack of traveling arrangements that people are, experiencing. And as a result, this is what it is. This is what's going on with Abu Dhabi. I highly doubt that this guy is going to get anything out of it. I suggest just walk away, right? What are you going to do? Try to sue Khamzat? We'll see how that works out, right? We'll see how, if you can even come up with, like, what jurisdiction would honor that? Because you said that there's CCTV, cameras that have captured this, right? Well, you think that the Emiratis are going to give a CCTV camera of you getting beat up? Just like how they got the camera angles of Tupac beating up Orlando Anderson in 1996. They're not going to give that to the United States government because Khamzat Chimaev is an asset to the UAE. You understand that, right? He is an asset to the UAE, and as a result, that is what's going to happen. He got beat up, and nothing is going to happen to him as a result of that. So, yeah, good luck to that gentleman. What's his name? R.J. Patterson. R.J. Patterson is his name. So, good luck to you on that. I highly doubt they're going to be able to do anything about it. And, and that's that. So, all right. So, obviously, now that we covered both combat sports situations, let's see what's going on in Iran. CBME says, if you watch the fight, it was Arman that hit-slapped Giorgio first. Is that right? Okay. I have to watch the entire match. Let me see if I can pull up, because obviously I'm only looking at it from the face value of this, okay? I didn't watch the whole match. I'm sure you've seen me play the footage of this very early into the stream with the intro of my music and everything. So let me show you the video of just my angle and what I saw, and obviously limited to what you're saying, right? Because obviously you seem to have more extensive knowledge of the whole entire match, which we're going to sort of look at in context. He says in the very first couple of minutes. Okay, I'm going to look for the full footage of the match. In the meantime, yes, this is just what I saw. Okay, obviously, the first video that I saw was the punch. Okay, I saw the punch that he threw when he was right on top of Giorgio. Okay, but I didn't see the entire match. Let me see if I can pull up the entire match just to kind of give you, better context of this, right? So Arman versus Giorgio, full match. Full match. Let's see if we have this right here. Okay, so is this a full match? Okay, here it is. Here it is, full match. Okay.
That's right. I mean this as a compliment to Sarukian and Sarukian's drive.
Okay, a little. Hold on. Let's play this right here. Okay. Let me turn off the commentary by Chael, just so we don't get any biasness around it. Okay, so there's a push right there. Obviously, that's from Giorgio first. Okay, now there's Arman right there. So wait a minute. It's Arman that did it first, or is this video incomplete? Okay, is this video incomplete? Because it was Arman that did it second. It was Arman that did it, as a result. Okay, so here we go. There's a slap right there. Arman complains. He shoves him. Arman's right there with the referee, being consulted with the referee. And Giorgio's walking around.
Oh my God, that was so much fun. I'm dying laughing. Listen, you can't slap a fighter not expecting a slap back, Chael. You know that.
Well, listen, I don't know what he's telling the referee.
Pull my hand back.
It's going to shed badly.
Right,
as a wrestler. Or something the referee's
Okay, so CBM, right? Explain that to me, right? Because the first couple of minutes that I saw, it was Giorgio that was engaging in that matter first, right? So I don't know, man. I don't know. Am I missing something here? Because we're watching literally the first minutes of this matchup, and it seemed that it was Giorgio that was doing things that were, sort of foul here, right? There's a bit of some foul play going on here. So what do you have to say to that? Reading the comments right here, he says, are you not entertained? Afternoon says, do you think Giorgio will be banned from future RAF events? Mr. Kyrie. Wow, okay. I don't know why I find that funny that you call me Mr. Kyrie, but nonetheless, do I think he'll be banned? No. I'm going to tell you why, right? This is the reason why, and this is the reason why I don't think that he's going to be banned. Let's take a look at the comments here, right? Adam Smith, right? Obviously, this is a person that is emulating Adam Smith, the 18th century economist, right? Indicative of his screen profile picture right here. He says, are you not entertained? I'm going to tell you why he's not going to be banned, right? Are you not entertained? Maximus, pretty sure everyone is misunderstanding your comment. Not particularly a clown show. Let me tell you something. People love clown shows. Here it is. He says, nope, that wasn't entertaining. That was childish and unprofessional. I wanted to see sporting highlights look more like a bent down version of a power slap most of the time. Hey, guess what? I know that sounds like, yeah, you know what? It's power slap. It's, not necessarily the right thing to do, but people love power slap. He says, no criminal activity is an entertainment. All right, so these guys are a little bit stiff. He says, no, follow the rules, sleaze bag, no closed fist. He says, yeah, man, awesome fight. Only those damn USA chants are annoying. Germany is strong again. Guys, get a scoreboard on the screen. Yes, lots of kids are watching while there's a huge ad for real American beer on the screen. Right? There it is. There it is, right? With the self-righteous, indignation right there. Human Made says, CBME is bugging. Arman didn't start it. The other guy, Georgie, was trying to get a DQ win by pissing off Arman. So from what I understand, Arman Sarukian obviously won this matchup, right? He won this matchup, and as a result of that, when he won this matchup, he decided, you know what? I'm going to try something so that I don't look like an idiot. I look like somebody that had some excuses as to why this was going on, Look, Arman is an elite wrestler, and I don't think that he could take it. He says, I think it's ironic that Hogan founded RAF, and now the event is sponsored by a blank beer can. There it is, man. There it is. So, once again, I think that answers your question whether they're going to ban him or not. I highly doubt they're going to ban him as a result of that, right? And not only are they not going to ban him, they are going to encourage this because guess what? What did I tell you guys, right? What I learned in college in terms of publicity, right? Learning journalism, and then also, you know, on the other side of that, public relations. No publicity is bad publicity. And Pork Chop said it best right here. More views, more money. So now guess what? You're going to want to tune in to not only an Arman Sarukian matchup or a Giorgio matchup. You now want to tune in to see if one of these guys are going to crash out due to fouls and whatever, right? He says, I believe this event was also the first event they sold out, Mr. Kyrie. Well, there you go, man. There you go, man. You into Mr. Kyrie stuff, right? You know, you're calling me Mr. with my first name. You know, I thought Mr. Abu El-Kheer would be more appropriate, but Mr. Kyrie is more comfortable for you. No problem. So, all right. With that in mind, let's get to the next segment that we're going to talk about, right? Because these are all developing stories as we speak right now, right? Let's get to the Iran war that is going on right now, and we will do that in less than 60 seconds from now. Okay, so less than 60 seconds from now, we will cover the Iran war. So that's what we're going to cover right now, okay? Because that is what is going on in the news right now, because there's not much going on in this particular topic. And by the way, the other topic that I'm going to talk about is also a shooting that happened in LA, which, you know, is quite tragic. But yeah, let's check this out right here with the Pentagon and what they have to say about the Iran-Israeli war right now.
Well, good morning. We just finished an update with Admiral Brad Cooper, the CENTCOM commander across the
By the way, this is Pete Hedzik, the Secretary of Defense.
AOR, our leadership and troops, as you would expect, doing a fantastic job. 2 days ago, under the direction and direct orders of President Donald J. Trump, the Department of War launched Operation Epic Fury, the most lethal, most complex, and most precise aerial operation in history. For 47 long years, the expansionist and Islamist regime in Tehran has waged a savage, one-sided war against America. They didn't always declare it openly, except for their constant chants of death to America. They did it through the blood of our people.
I want to preface this for a second, right? The reason why they were chanting death to America, I need you to understand the big reason for that is because of the fact that they hate the U.S. government, not the people. Now, from my experience traveling around the world, right, especially in the Middle East, one of the things that I learned was that they never hate you for being an American. In fact, they are quite fascinated by you for being an American. But what they don't like is our government meddling into their business. Also trying to take their resources. And here's another thing, right, that you guys need to understand about this war in Iran. There's many conservatives out there that are complaining of the mass migration that is coming into the West. Guess what's going to happen as a result of this? More migration. Okay? More refugees. And now you're bringing a whole different element of refugees because during the Iraq war, the majority of the refugees you were bringing in the Iraq war, in the Afghanistan war, were Sunni Muslims with a little bit of a different ideology than that of the Shia-dominated Iran. Okay, now, what makes them dangerous? Even more so than the Sunnis. They have militias and factions and rebel groups around the world that support them, from Latin America to Europe, all the way to Lebanon, and even in parts of Asia, especially in parts of Pakistan, indicative of the U.S. embassy being ran on by Pakistani Shias. Just later this week, U.S. Marines had to gun down 20 people in order to sustain safety for that U.S. embassy, right? And obviously the people that were attacking this, my wild guess, and it's not the wildest guess ever, it is obviously probably Pakistani Shias that were doing this. This is not helpful in any way. A lot of people say something to the effect of, you know what? Ayatollah Khomeini was a bad man. Let me tell you something, right? In the world of Donald Trump, killers. We got a lot of killers. You don't think that we got killers on our side? Everybody has killers. He said this when he was mentioning Hillary Clinton during a campaign. Okay, we all got killers. Donald Trump is a killer. Obama is a killer. Bush especially. Bush 1 and 2 are killers. More so Bush the son. But more so his dad. His dad was in the CIA, so probably he was 10 times of a killer than George Bush Jr. ever was. Regardless, we all got killers. And on top of that, let's not play the morality game of Ayatollah Khomeini is this, but Trump is that. We don't need to go there. The Epstein files, the fact that Trump is erratic in his behavior, the fact that Trump is the quintessential meathead in terms of the guy that goes head first without thinking about anything. Do you understand how diverse the country of Iran is? Do you understand how diverse this country is? This country is very diverse. It's not all Shias. It's not all just a minority of Sunnis, a minority of Baha'i or other fringe religions that have came from the Persian empires. They also have different ethnic groups that are there. They also have Jews in Iran, which a lot of people don't know. There's a huge Jewish population in the town of Isfahan in Iran, right? So they are a diverse population. And now you're getting rid of Khomeini, the guy who is holding that country together. Now, what kind of country are you going to get out of this? On top of that, you're trying to bring in Raza, the guy who comes from the old royal family of Iran, only to figure out that he was overthrown. Okay, he was overthrown by the Shah of Iran, and then later the Shah of Iran was overthrown by the Islamic Shia regime of the original Ayatollah Khomeini from back in the days, right, in the 1980s. So now what kind of mess are you going to create in this country? Are you just going to be okay with the fact that we have 3 American dead troops? And by the way, here's another thing, right? There's a lot of reports that are going unreported. There's a lot of reports that are, quite frankly, skewed, right? The number of casualties, the type of destruction that has happened in Israel that has not been reported, because guess what? Israel does not want you to know that there are bombings and there are disastrous situations going on in the streets of Tel Aviv. Just like the Emiratis, Dubai, Saudi Arabia does not want you to know that there are a lot of safety issues going on there. And by the way, here's another thing, right? I want you to look this up. You are not allowed to make news or quote unquote cite fake stories that is not under the Emirati government's approval of what is going on. Because guess what? They are trying to protect their reputation, rightfully so, as a safe tourist hub. You got social media influencers vouching for the government of the UAE, including Andrew Tate. So there you have it, right? Everybody is trying to cover up the situation. The U.S. is trying to cover up their mass casualties, right? They say 3 dead American soldiers, probably even more. They're talking about how, how Dubai does not want the world to know that they have issues going on with their security, because they pride themselves into being one of the safest Middle Eastern countries in the world, which is what makes them a tourist destination hub. And then on top of that, what you have is Israel lying about not only their safety of their country, right? They are also lying about the casualties that are coming into Tel Aviv while Tel Aviv is getting bombed left and right. And then, by the way, insane of Iran, what did they do? They go and bomb Trump's hotel in Abu Dhabi as some sort of symbolic gesture in some kind of way. But that is what we have going on for this war right now, and unfortunately, that is a reality of the situation. And we're going to get more updates as time goes on. I just wanted to kind of throw this in there to, you know, give you guys a little bit of an update, give you guys a little bit of some takes that I have on this particular subject, and also just some nuances that I think many people really need to hear before they make a decision on whether they should be okay with having U.S. troops deployed to this part of the world, or even just engaging in war. Now, obviously, this is a different type of warfare that we are dealing with today. We're dealing with precise striking, right? Meaning that they have drones that can easily detect where these people are. There's even reports right now saying that Benjamin Netanyahu has been KIA'd by an airstrike. And we don't know that. And then the other side of it, they're saying that Ayatollah Khomeini is actually still alive. We don't know what the truth is, but the truth is there is precise bombing that is going on, where it's not like back in the days where they can just drop bombs and indiscriminately kill a group of people. They can easily target a specific individual and prevent mass casualties that they don't need to. I mean, obviously, it's not going to be perfect. No drone strikes, no air strikes are perfect, but this is a different era of war. Not only through means of propaganda and media, but also through precise striking with not just nuclear bombs, but also drone strikes and air strikes, and also maybe even using proxies, special forces, guerrilla groups, rather than using, let's say, full-on infantry platoons and full-on military occupation on the ground. So that is what's going on with that situation right now. That is the current update, and inshallah, we will get more information as time goes on. So I'm going to have maybe just a couple of minutes left on this one right now. The last thing that I kind of wanted to cover was a story that's going on in Long Beach. So we cover Middle Eastern politics, we covered wrestling, MMA situation, MMA stories. Now the next story is in Long Beach. Okay, so let's see here. There was a shooting going on in Long Beach. We're going to talk about it in 5 minutes from now. Okay? No, I'm sorry, not 5 minutes from now. 55 minutes into the live stream, which is 30 seconds from now. So 30, 29, 28, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, so rapper Nipsey Hussle and his brother, right? The late Nipsey Hussle, his brother opened a franchise and Marathon Burger, right? He opened Marathon Burger, and now there was an opening in Long Beach. And of course, what happened? Shots rang out, okay? Now, here's the thing about Long Beach. Obviously, Long Beach is known to be a Crip town. Even though Nipsey Hussle is not from Long Beach, he is an affiliated Crip, but not from that particular town. Snoop Dogg was there as one of those guys to cut the ribbons during, you know, the openings. Let's check this out right here.
And good evening, I'm Susan Hirasuna. Our top story, a day of celebration turns into chaos. Gunfire erupts at a packed block party, leaving one dead and others injured. The violence breaking out during the grand opening of a new burger spot. Fox 7's Matthew Seedorf is live in Long Beach with the latest there. Matthew.
Well, Susan, there were thousands of people out here today filling the street for that block party, the restaurant on this block, but then the shooting taking place about another block over right outside the parking garage. You can see police out here tonight still investigating exactly what happened. dramatic moments in downtown Long Beach as crowds of people run from a deadly shooting.
Gunshots fired on Pine and Broadway.
Police near Broadway and Pine rushing in with weapons drawn, several people put in handcuffs.
Oh, they're putting him in the rig?
Officers carrying one victim to their patrol car. Skyfox over the scene where authorities say 3 men in their 20s were shot, one of the victims killed.
This is sad. That's all I can say.
It looked like a Mardi Gras. Put it that way. It was packed. The streets were full. I mean, the vibe was good. Everybody was vibing. It was pretty cool, you know, until one knucklehead.
Before the shooting, a massive crowd filling the street for a block party in the grand opening of Marathon Burger.
It wasn't related to the restaurant at all.
Ali Khan, rewind from the very beginning. I'm going to go soon, just so you know, right? But rewind from the very beginning. I gave some full extended, what do you call it, information and details on that matter.
We have a full security team. We have police, street closure, people eating ice cream and playing basketball games.
So far, no suspects taken into police custody. Authorities unable to release a motive for the deadly shooting.
Come on now, keep it 100. I ain't got to say it. You already know. It's sad.
Yeah.
And it was supposed to be a celebration of life.
Eventually, there's going to be some type of, even the police knows that. There'll be some type of commotion. You got different sets of gangs coming into your neighborhood. So that's what transpired here tonight.
Back out here live, the investigation continues. Police still have this block cornered off. And again, so far, no arrests have been made. If you know anything about this case, call police.
All right, so the reality of that situation, you're not going to get any cooperation, right? On a normal setting, when I mean normal setting, I mean in a normal setting where it's not involving gang members, right? Because this is Long Beach, right? It doesn't get any more gang memberish than that, right? You got Rollin' 20 Crips, you got Tiny Rascal Gang, you got the Asian Boy Crips, you got the Sons of Samoa. It's basically a Crip town, right? It's a Crip town, but you also have people from Inglewood, Compton, Watts, and other parts of Southern California, maybe even other parts of Northern California, showing up there for this burger joint to open. And as a result, when you have all of those elements coming in together, guess what? You are going to have a certain level of violence. You are going to have people that are going to be strapped. So whenever you go to places like this, you have to be very careful and you have to watch yourself. You got to watch your six. All right, guys, listen, that is all that I have for this situation. And one more thing about this, I highly doubt they're going to get suspects anytime soon. Maybe they will at some point, but right now, no, because once again, gang culture is a culture of non-snitching and not speaking up, which, by the way, is going to make the investigation even harder for the police, and even more so if there were no cameras around. So a little recap of the things that we talked about today. Number one, Arman punches wrestler in a wrestling match. Rewind from the very beginning to find out all the details that I gave on that from the start of the live stream. Number two, Khamzat and his crew jump a former US serviceman in Dubai airport. Check that out. We gave you an update on what's going on with the Iran-Israeli conflict and also my thoughts on that matter. And then the shooting at the Marathon Burger joint that was opened by Nipsey Hussle and his brother, the late Nipsey Hussle, who also lost his life to gang violence. All right, guys, listen, that is all that I have for this one right now. Don't forget to like and subscribe. That is my whole full hour of this live stream. 1 hour of action-packed news coverage from MMA, world politics, also the things that are going on with these fighters, assaulting people in random places, in wrestling matches, and then shootouts and wars that are going on around the world. The most epic mixed martial arts channel that you will ever find in the history of YouTube. And like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one, inshallah.